What's up, everyone? My name's Taylor Nemechek, and welcome back to Who's That Saint? A big shout out to all of you who, whether in Washington, D.C. or around the world, let your voices be heard for the annual March for Life. And today we're going to be talking about an icon for the pro-life movement. So who might we be talking about but Saint Gianna? So the question is, who is Saint Gianna? Saint Gianna was born on October 4th in the year of 1922 in Magenta, Italy. And she was the 10th of 13 children in her family. She had very lovely parents who brought her up well in the Catholic faith, and as a young girl, Gianna viewed life as God's beautiful gift and just fell in love with prayer and her relationship with God. Gianna began studying medicine in Milan in the year of 1942, and she excelled both in her studies and in her faith life. While studying in school, Gianna began apostolic work with the elderly and the needy, and in the year of 1949 she received degrees in both medicine and surgery. And so then, following that, in the year of 1950, she opened a medical office near her hometown. But then, in the year of 1952, she returned to the University of Milan to specialize in pediatrics. And from this point on, in her studies and just in her life, she was especially drawn to mothers and babies, the elderly, and the poor. Gianna's hopes in all this were that at some point she would be able to go join her brother, who was a missionary priest in Brazil, where she would use her medical expertise in gynecology to help the poor women there. But her poor chronic health made this impossible, so she just continued her practice there in Italy. Gianna felt called to the vocation of marriage, and in December of 1954 she met Pietro Malo, an engineer who worked in her office. And they became engaged in the following April and were married in September of 1955. And Gianna was very happy in their marriage, and one time she even wrote to her husband, "Love is the most beautiful sentiment that the Lord has put into the soul of men and women." And by July of 1959, Gianna had mothered 3 beautiful children. She handled motherhood very gracefully and quickly found a balance in her demanding life. In 1961, Gianna became pregnant with their 4th child, but after just 2 months of pregnancy, she was struck with an unbearable pain. Doctors found that she had developed a fibroma in her uterus, which meant she was carrying both a baby and a tumor. And after being examined, the doctors gave her 3 choices. Either have an abortion, which would save Gianna's life and allow her to continue having children, but it would take the life of their unborn 4th child. The second option was a complete hysterectomy, which would save her life, but it would take the child's life and prevent her from being able to have children in the future. And the third option was the removal of only the fibroma, which could save the life of the baby, but it would mean there was potential for further complications for Gianna, and even possibly that she would lose her own life. Catholic teaching affirms what medical science, the natural law, the Bible, and unbroken Christian tradition affirm. The child in the womb has a fundamental human right to life. Wanting to preserve her child's life, Gianna opted for the removal of the fibroma only, putting her own life at risk. But this was a risk she was willing to take. Gianna was a doctor. She knew what she was putting herself up against, what she was getting herself into. And time again, Gianna pleaded with the surgeons to save her child's life over her own. She sought and found comfort in her prayers and in her faith. And so the surgery took place, and the child's life was saved. And Gianna was extremely happy and relieved with this, and she would time and time again go to prayer thanking the Lord for the saving of her own child's life. As predicted, though, there were many complications that followed the operation throughout the rest of her pregnancy. This did not faze Gianna, though, and she continued through her pregnancy with an unbelievable strength and faith. She never set aside her dedication as a mother and a doctor, and continued to be there and be present for the tasks and the responsibilities she had. And as the birth of her child drew near, she made sure she was clear about her wishes. She told her family countless times, "If you must decide between me and the child, do not hesitate. Choose the child. I insist on it. Save the baby." and she would time and time again pray that the Lord take away any pain from the child. And Gianna was a doctor, like I said. She knew quite well that she would possibly, and honestly at this point, likely lose her life in giving birth. But she was ready. She cared so much for her own child, much more over her own life. On April 21st, 1962, Gianna successfully gave birth by C-section. And after the birth, the doctor tried many different treatments and procedures to ensure that both lives would be saved, but a week later, on April 28th, 1962, Gianna passed away. And Gianna was beatified by St. Pope John Paul II on April 24th in the year 1994, and was canonized once again by St. Pope John Paul II on May 16th in the year of 2004. Her husband and 4 children attended her canonization ceremony, which made it the first time that a husband ever witnessed his wife's canonization. And during the canonization ceremony, John Paul II described Gianna as a simple but more than ever significant messenger of divine love. And she is the inspiration behind the first pro-life Catholic healthcare center for women in New York, called the Gianna Center, and to this day is a key figure in the pro-life movement, like I said in the beginning of the episode. And her feast day is on April 28th, and she's the patron saint of mothers, physicians, and unborn children. So Saint Gianna, pray for us. And there's our answer to who is Saint Gianna. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something you didn't already know about this wonderful pro-life saint. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button for more episodes like these, and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss out on any videos that are being posted. And make sure to check out all the rest of the videos and episodes if you've missed any. And as always, stay tuned for next week's episode of Who's That Saint? We'll see you next time. God bless.